Good morning and welcome to day 13, I think it is, of our Making It Together live educational sessions. I'm your host, Josh Ellsworth from Stalls, and coming to you live from my spare bedroom with just my heat press, my vinyl cutter, and my computer, and a little lighting kit to make sure you get some good quality video here. Want to welcome everybody back. I had a day off tomorrow from these sessions. We've been running them straight through the entire month of March. And then we've changed our scheduling a bit to where Jenna is handling Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 with our Making It Together home edition. So you get a little bit of sort of smaller projects that you can do with a small heat press and a craft cutter, desktop vinyl cutter that she's been showing. And then my sessions are focused more on the business segment and going a little bit deeper in some of the tools available from stalls.com and transferexpress.com, and then just kind of navigating each day through the products based on your feedback. And our goal in all of this is to equip you to come out of this stronger than ever, more knowledgeable than ever. A lot of you are spending this time planning your business, trying to punch your way out of this, as I like to say, and you just keep fighting. And so we're here to support you in that and give you all the education we possibly can. So good morning, Craig. Good to see you from Washington. Ray, good to see you from out in New Jersey. And James from Red Deer, Alberta. KF from South Carolina. Make sure you shout out everybody where you're watching from. I'm broadcasting into two places on Facebook, into our Stalls page and our Stalls Heat Press for Profit group. And then I see some are watching and commenting on YouTube as well. So we're going live on YouTube, which is a new thing I learned during this time. So we're all learning new things. Dale, good to see you over on YouTube from Portland, Oregon. Kelly from Ontario. Let's see. Somebody on Facebook from Oklahoma. Good morning. Hector from Brooklyn. What's up, Hector? And Mike from Canada, back with us again. And Mo from Kansas. All kinds of folks on today. So one of the things that we do as part of these sessions is we have a feedback survey. So we're going to go ahead and link that survey to you here just momentarily. It'll show up on the comment stream wherever you're watching, as long as my colleagues are monitoring those streams, and I know they are. So you should see that. And what it is, it's a 4-question survey. It asks you what you want to hear in future sessions. Is the most important question. I read those and update my content and let it form kind of where we head from here as we go throughout the entire month of April is what I expect with these sessions. So keep giving me ideas so I know what to talk to you about each day. So fill that out. That also enters you into our giveaway, which we are going to do today. Just like we did last week, I'm not going to do it live on air, but what I will do is I will draw the winners based on your survey entry number. Off air, we'll announce, let's go with 5 winners this week, and we will make sure you get out the prize, which is our full set of sample packs that we showed on one of our sessions last week. And you can always go back and take a look at that session if you're not familiar, but you will be alerted by email. And then those sample packs typically go out around 3 to 5 days. After you win it, we gather everything up and mail it on to you so you can try our stuff. So the survey link has been shared on our Facebook page and it'll show up on our group. Marcus, good morning from Detroit. That's our headquarters. So I haven't been able to travel there in some time, but I've been video conferencing with our team out of the Sterling Heights area pretty much every day, and the rest of our team across the country. So today's topic is all about taking a logo from zero to hero. And so when you think about you and your business and what you do, I want you to think about what you do in terms that your customer would value. And so we're all t-shirt printers and apparel decorators and embroiders and screen printers and heat printers, engravers, sublimators, whatever you want to call yourself. But one term I like to use is we are brand consultants. And when somebody has a brand, whether that is their team, whether that is their company, or whether that is their cause, there is a brand associated with that. And it's our job as apparel decorators, but better yet, as brand consultants, to be able to elevate their brand, to coach them, to help them make a good selection. And there's multiple parts, of course, that come into that. A big part of the brand is a logo. And so I think logo design services can be an important part of the business for a lot of you. But logo design services can be tough if you don't have great art skills. We're going to bring our world-renowned artist, Dane Clement, on with me for a session next week to start teaching a little bit about art and some of the tips that he can share with you along the way. But I'm not an artist at all. But I do have access to our free online design software, CADWorks, and there are some tools in CADWorks as well as some tools in EasyView that can help me with very little art skills to be able to update a customer's logo. And so that's one piece of it, being able to update a customer's logo or create a logo, give them something. If you don't have that talent, if you don't want to spend the time on it, perhaps that's the first thing you should go out and find a graphic designer. I'm not saying you hire them. That may be the decision for your business, but certainly visit a site where you can access freelancers like Upwork or something like that and connect to designers, get a good relationship with somebody that you can contract to fill that gap in your business. You can help customers update their brand. Now, the other part, of course, after you design the logo is picking the right product and understanding the product choices available to get that logo onto the item that you want to decorate. In the case of stalls, most of that revolves around a piece of apparel, a wearable item, whether that's a hat, a polo, a placket, whatever that may be. So we'll talk to you a little bit about some of our product solutions for upgrading logos and creating cool logos. And then additionally, sourcing the right apparel match. So that's all part of being a brand consultant, understanding how to handle artwork, understanding how to select the right product for a job that matches what your client is looking to deliver, and then understanding how to connect the right garment to what they want to create. So think of it a little bit in that term. So good to see all of y'all logging on today from everywhere from Central PA to Western New York to Western Oklahoma to Ghana. So that's always exciting to see. And so we're talking about taking a logo from zero to hero through CADWorks Live. And I think I'm going to show you some tools, even for those of you that may be experienced with CADWorks that you haven't expected before. So let's go ahead and pull that screen up and take a look. So CADWorksLive.com, which is WORX, CADWorksLive.com, free online design software. I've been showing it throughout our sessions because it's free and it's what I know, and it's great to experiment during this time. So sign up for a free account. It launches on the web. And then I like to work inside of this design studio portion that I launch unless I'm using Teams. So CADWorks Live creates vector art. It doesn't always have to be artwork that's going to be cut on a vinyl cutter. It could actually be artwork that you're going to send to a transfer provider, such as Transfer Express or Stalls, to create a logo. So I'm going to focus on that element, or even creating potentially what we call print cut artwork with CADWorks. So first off, this is a blank design space. And so CADWorks has the ability to add text, to create from templates, to actually import artwork and vectorize it in the software. You can do a lot of things on here, athletic tails, etc. Now I'm going to open an existing piece of art to demonstrate from. So I'm going to go into my library. And when you create stuff on CADWorks, it all saves down into your library. And I wanted to work from a very basic design. Actually, this is a design, this RJF masonry that we did for a friend here in our local area. This is his actual company logo. I was able to bring it in and trace it within CADWorks. So when I go to this wireframe view, I get a cut file. So I showed you that vectorization tool where you can go to File and Import and Vectorize to make something cuttable right away. But I wanted to kind of show you how we can take this basic logo and upgrade a brand. So regardless of the logo you have on the screen, we'll work with this one. CADWorks has some really great tools. And so one way to upgrade a logo is just by changing the color scheme of it. And so I'm going to imagine this logo for something called digital printing. So when you think of digital printing, you think of the ability to include color in the design, multicolor. And so when you're working with a client's logo, depending on how tightly they're tied to their logo, you may have the ability to experiment a little bit and bring in some color, whether you're filling it with a color based on a photo or an image you have, so with a pattern, or whether you're creating some gradient, or even making the logo to look a little bit three-dimensional. So with that in mind and understanding, we're going to order a digital transfer with this, and we'll talk about types of digital transfers here in a second. We're going to experiment a bit with this logo. So first thing when you're working in CADWorks, if you double click a logo, or a piece of text or an object or an element, you can see this isn't even reading as text since I scanned and traced his font. I didn't have the font, so we just traced it. So it's just reading as an object down here in CADWorks. Now, CADWorks has the ability to change the color of the object and be able to fill that with any of our stock color palettes to change the color. That's pretty simple stuff. But this add effect is the area that I really like. So when you click add effect, typically when we're dealing with athletic type stuff, we're dealing with envelopes. And if we're creating a design from scratch for the front of the shirt, we're doing this. But I'm guessing that the company is tied to that logo, and they really don't want you arching or adding envelopes to the text because it's going to mess with the integrity of their logo as well. So one of the coolest things is to elevate that logo for digital printing. I like this 3D text effect, and it's going to be painfully simple what we're going to do here. But CADWorks team has already done the work to create these special effects that you can add to any design element, not just text, to any design element, even a heart. If you're putting a heart on a t-shirt with an I Heart Uniontown or New York or whatever the design is, it's not trademarked. But basically, you can experiment with these. So let's say I wanted to try this version of 3D text. All I do is select it, and I open it, and it will add that design to my text. Now, what you'll see within CADWorks is once you have the 3D element selected, there is so many things you can change here. Many things that I don't understand, but you can experiment with where you want your what you want your border intensity to be as a percentage, what you want your border size to be, your contour offset, your lighting, how you want your text to go. So right now I have the lighting source being up. What happens if I change that to lighting source down? It will re-render your artwork, and now I can see I have the highlights on the bottom of the text. So it looks like it's coming three-dimensional from the bottom and out instead of from the top down. And so you can change all of these different elements within your 3D effect. If you're a designer, you probably understand this, but being not a designer like me, I just experiment. It's time to try new things with these numbers and get a look that I want. Once you're happy with it, you click OK, and you can see now I've taken a very basic piece of text and I've made it three-dimensional. So it's designed for digital printing, so it pops off the shirt. But I'm not done yet, because I want to show you a technique of how you can take a basic element of a design and change that as well. So rather than just doing three-dimensional, I'll click on this, and a really hidden part, I think, of the CADWorks Designer is this fill function. A lot of people are used to just going into this fill function and clicking on the color that they want to change it to for representation and cutting on whatever color of vinyl they have loaded. But what's really cool in here is these tabs. So you have a tab called Gradient, and you have a tab called Texture. So Gradient allows you to do exactly that, put an ombre effect or a fade or gradient, whatever you want to call it, across your entire design element. And so how you do that is you actually go down to this bottom section to create your own custom gradient. And then you can save those gradients as well. And so we can choose the direction of the gradient, whether we want it to be horizontal in which direction, vertical in either direction, or diagonal in either of the four directions. So if I wanted to create a diagonal effect, I would select the one I want, and then I would start to create colors. So I can change the white color just by clicking this little box, and I can say, hey, I want to keep this to the burgundy color that we're using in the design. And now it's fading from burgundy to black, right? If I wanted to change the black color and make that side of the design, I don't know, let's say white, you can do that as well. Now, you can't click and move these along this bar to change the percentage, but what you can do is add extra colors to the gradient, which is really cool. So if you click this plus sign, that will drop another color onto your palette. And now you can slide that color anywhere you want across the fill to change the result. Now you can see this third color that I've added is white. So let me try to change that to black, and you can see the result. So you can add as many colors to this as you want and change the element of the color to create some really cool effects. But of course, you'll want to consult with the brand that you're using, understand their color schemes, and go from there. Anytime you want to remove one, you're just going to select it and click the minus, and it will remove that as well. So I think black and red will look best. So I'm actually going to add 2 blacks on this one, get a little bit more black in my design, and click OK. And then I can take a look at how that displays across the text that I've created. And again, you can combine other effects on top of this gradient fill. So it's just really cool how you can take somebody's logo from being something very basic and start to spice it up a little bit. And so you can imagine for a brand, they may be pretty tied to their logo, but for a small business, they probably appreciate getting some design services and say, hey, why don't you let me show you how we can really make that logo pop for you? And you may turn it from a single order to a customer for life. And I think that's the really cool part. When you can start to deliver this extra value in the form of logo design services, you can do some really cool things. So that's within CADWorks. Now, let's say I'm done with this design. I'm going to go ahead and export this in a couple different ways, because you can always, you can't really cut this on a vinyl cutter. There'd be too many colors. And of course, you would need a fade that matches this exactly. But there's certainly digital print technologies out there that will be able to produce this for you. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to export this design. I'm going to bring it out as a vector format, as a PDF. That's a pretty universal format. And that way I'll be able to email a proof to the customer if I want. And it also give me a format that's saved that I can upload it to Stalls or Transfer Express. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I will export the design. It'll take a little bit while, and then it downloads into my bottom toolbar, and that'll be under my downloads. I'll save that for later. We'll get back to that in just a moment. So this is CADWorks Live being able to take a logo and offer some design services to upgrade the look. I'm going to keep an eye on any questions for that. It looks like I don't see any questions. So yeah, Ken, CADWorks is a great tool to use. Want to say hello to everybody that's joining in here. And good morning to my friends at Target Transfers over in the UK. Good to see you guys as always. And thanks for promoting our sessions over on that side of the pond. It's been exciting to see users from all over the world joining us here on Making It Together. So let's go in, and I want to show you a little bit more about how to do this in Transfer Express. So I'm going to move over to the EasyView Designer. Let me back out and explain this just a little bit. So there are a few different types of transfers out there on the market. There's heat transfer vinyl, which you cut on a vinyl cutter. Those are the basics. Most people have the ability to do that. There are digital transfers, which Stalls would print and cut on a device like a Roland VersaCam to create a transfer. And these are really great for small quantities. And then there are screen printed transfers, which would be screen printing from Transfer Express. You get a sheet like this with your design on it already printed. All you need to do is trim it apart and heat apply it. And so Transfer Express has their own designer. CADWorks, you can design and upload the art into Transfer Express and then order transfers. But Transfer Express gives you this tool set where you can design specifically for screen printed transfers. And so I want to show you just a quick way on how to add effects within their designer. So I'm going to work from just a basic text object to show you. And I'll get real creative here, and we'll call it sample. You can change that text to any font you want within Transfer Express's designer. I'm going to pick something a little beefier so we can see a good representation on it. And then within the Transfer Express designer, it's really simple to add effects to any logo that you upload or that you create from all of the Transfer Express layouts are available. Now those effects are over here in the side panel. So one effect I like is the ability to add patterns. Now you can do this in CADWorks too, but Transfer Express makes it super simple. They have a lot of patterns that are already built in. So if I wanted to take this text and add, let's say this tribal pattern looks pretty cool to it, I can do that and instantly fill that into my design to create the look. Now, typically when you're designing with patterns, I like to apply an outline to it. So you can also click on this effects command right here. And you are able to do things like arch, as well as do a drop shadow, or just do an outline on your text element. And when you add that outline, I click touching outline, I can change the width of that outline using the plus minus command. And then I can also change the color of the outline by clicking the charcoal color in my color chart, and let's change it to a black, and that makes the text stand off a little bit more. And again, once you are done, you basically click done. You can always come back and change the font after the fact. So if I don't like how tight that is, I can then experiment with my font and also with my letter spacing within the designer. So we try to give you the tools. That way you can really take a customer's logo or create a layout and update it. And so the Transfer Express patterns that you're seeing here and effects are really designed for the process of screen printing. And again, with screen printing, we are burning a screen for each color. So as you create these effects, your cost is going to go up based on the number of colors in the effect that you're applying. But we do have the new technology that I've been talking about for a while now called digital screen printed transfers, where it allows me to gang a bunch of different effects and colors and transfer styles and logos all onto one big 11.5 by 18-inch sheet and gang those and order them together. And so when you're talking about small logos for brands, Stretch Lithomat, which is the name of the product, is a really cool technology for ordering something like I've created on the screen, which can be combined with many other logos. So basically, when you go, all you're going to do is select from the drop down on the right hand side that you don't want screen print, that you want a full color transfer. Select the transfer type that you want, in this case Stretch Lithomat, and I can see here that my design space is 11.5 by 18, and that's going to give me the ability to create all sorts of effects within my design, different colors, different logos, all for one price. And once you say I want, let's say 35 of these, it will render up a price on how much it would be for 35 sheets, $151.80. So that's really a cool thing. One other product from Transfer Express that I want to show you how to get to, and this is a new product. You can add this to any of your digital transfer products. So whether you're ordering CAD prints, which is a print cut transfer type, or Stretch Lithomat, which is a digital screen printed transfer, you can add an effect called Symbroidery. Now, the designer doesn't visualize this, but we do it for you. You can see, I believe you can see that this looks like it's been sewn. So we actually add an embroidered thread look to your entire design that you've created. And so a lot of the Stretch Lithomat samples that we've mailed out have this Symbroidery effect on it. So it's a great way to take somebody's logo like this for an event, for whatever it may be, and be able to just upgrade it. Have a sample there of the same design done basic and with Symbroidery, and say, hey, would you like to take this logo to Symbroidery? We can do that for you. And so if I show you how to get to that within the Transfer Express design space, it's like this. So first, let me add just a small layout here to the same sheet. Let's say, I don't know, let's do this EMS design. I can drop that onto the sheet. Let's say it's going on a left chest logo. I can size it down to a good size. And then what I want to do is I click Symbroidery just on the left-hand side, right? And that's going to go ahead and add the Symbroidery effect to the designs that I'm creating, which is really cool. And so you can still work with it, but once you have this Symbroidery checked, you'll know that you'll be able to get that effect added to your text. So it's really neat. The minimum quantity, to answer the question that's coming in on YouTube, is what's the minimum quantity for Stretch Litho? The minimum quantity is 5 sheets. So it gets pretty expensive in my opinion at 5 sheets. So I would really aim to the 10 to 15 sheet quantity. So really interesting what you can do here with special effects and upgrading logos. Now, with that in mind, hopefully you guys aren't getting bored with the design stuff. Sometimes I get bored with the design stuff and feel like I need to press something. So I want to let's take a little break, and we're going to go over to the heat press, and I'm going to talk to you about now a product that would allow you to upgrade the logo outside of just the stretch litho mat. I have my heat press up at 360 degrees because I want to do some different products today, so I won't be able to apply the low temp products like stretch litho, which is at 275. But I think you guys have seen a lot of that if you've been attending these sessions, and they're all recorded so you can watch them back. So let's go ahead and try to get a better view of my heat press. Bear with me for 1 second while it gets rocky here. And I appreciate all those who have been making comments on why don't I get a wireless headset, or telling our video guy Joe to get me a wireless headset. You're worried this is distracting to you. I've learned to live with it. It doesn't bother me at all, so I don't expect that I'll rip it out or trip on it. So we're good for now, but eventually I will upgrade. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to do something. I'm going to try something, actually. This is a Sherpa garment. This particular one is from Boxercraft. I know Boxercraft sells some nice Sherpa. J America does as well. It's something you probably want to think about when we're coming out of summer back into fall and winter. I had one of these left over at the office, so I thought we would press that together today. And so I'm going to split the garment and load it onto the press. I'm using my same press I've been using every day for these sessions, which is my Auto Open Hotronix press. I'm going to use a Print Perfect pad because I'm going to try to get to a left chest logo placement. And so rather than changing the platen today, I chose to use the pad to show you how that works. All I'm going to do is slightly unzip right here and then just slide the pad in for my left chest area on this particular garment. And then I'll zip it back up to get the zipper out of my way. What that does is it raises this print area up above this zipper on this quarter zip garment. At that point, I need to grab my cover sheet, and I'm going to make sure I have my pressure locked in appropriately. So I need to retract it a lot because I've added a lot of thickness there. And keep in mind, when you add a smaller pad or smaller platen, you don't need near as much pressure as you need on the 16 by 20 platen, because all of that pressure is coming down onto a smaller surface area, so you actually get more applied pressure in that area. Now, when we talk about upgrading a logo, this is a product we call CAD Prints Permatwill. So you can order this in that RJF masonry design that I did and added the gradient and that effect. This is a sublimated twill that we make for you. I'm going to show you how to order this on our website here in a second, but I love it because it's a premium result. Now, because it's only a single piece, it comes loose. If you had ordered that design I showed earlier with free floating elements, it would come all pre-spaced with a carrier on it. So don't worry about that. But basically, I'm going to lay this down into place onto my pad. I do need to cover it. It comes with a special cover sheet that you'll use, but because I don't have that cover sheet available, I'm going to have to operate with what I have. And so I will use my standard cover sheet. Keep in mind that when you are doing this, it is sublimated. So those dyes are going to bleed on your cover sheet and it's going to be ruined. So you'll want to have like a disposable cover sheet, because sublimation, and I know someone asked a little earlier about sublimation, it is actually a process of dyeing a polyester fabric. So because this is a polyester twill, it started white, we can sublimate your digital logo on it. It's a digital print process with special inks that dyes white polyester fabrics. So we can sublimate direct to white polyester garments. This is a technique for doing it on the twill, which is a fabric-based polyester twill, and then applying it to grab some dimension and texture to the logo, which is something that's really popular. So all the application instructions are on stahls.com. I did jot them down here. So this one is 20 seconds for 300 degrees. I do have my press up at 360 because I'm going to be doing some other stuff that requires it. So I'm not too concerned about applying the extra temperature to twill. I have good experience with it. It is a pretty flexible product as far as what you heat it at. The most important thing is we get to the adhesive on the backside of the twill. So anytime you're applying dimensional, like twill or flex style or leather patches or anything like that, you want to make sure you preheat a lot to get the heat flowing from underneath your item. So after we complete the design, see, told you it would sublimate onto my cover sheet. Those dyes activate a little bit and would transfer to my next garment. I'm going to pull this off and give you a look at it. So now we have a design. And again, I'm getting a little bit of a marking on this. Most of it's just the fabrics matting down from where that pad was. So brush the fibers of the garment out before you deliver it. And we have a really nice effect, and it stands off here. So most people think you need to direct embroidery these Sherpa fabrics. We've done a lot of video education. Jenna has done a lot of testing to help us with this, to show you that you can use products like CAD Prints Permatwill on items like this, as well as flock. So looks really good. And the sublimated twill is on stall. So I'm going to show you that here in 1 second after I apply one more product for you at the heat press. We'll get back down into the designer for a bit. Now, another way to upgrade a customer's logo, so that was with the CAD Prints Permatwill, if you had a digital logo, which we've been focused on, is by going to something like FlexStyle, which is a dimensional logo. And so there are a ton of different versions of FlexStyle. I'll show you in the upload tool on stalls.com how to experiment with that and get a look at some of the different types. And then there are also leather patches. And so in this case, I'm going to use the leather patch. We're not getting any digital printing on the leather patch, but we are getting a laser etch on the leather patch. And so you're able to do a basic, multicolor logo. And I'm going to apply this to a canvas bag. This is genuine leather. So we don't recommend that it be pressed to apparel to be laundered. It is going to wear as if you washed leather over and over, which does wear. But if you wanted to do headwear or bags or any non-wearables, it's a great product for branding. And so in this case, I may have to change this platen, but I'll give it a shot here and splitting it over my 16 by 20. It looks like I may make it. Yep, just made it there. Again, there's a lot of seam structure here with the straps and everything. So I'm going to try to take this pad and insert it into the pocket where I want to do the placement to create some separation for me. Again, I want to preheat. Now, leather is 360, 20 seconds, medium pressure, and we actually recommend 20-second preheat. Again, we just want to make sure you have that base platen warmed up to be able to apply it. It comes to you loose like this. There are 3 colors in the leather, which I'll show you in a moment. I position that into place. Cover it with a cover sheet. Do my best to have the design that I ruined hanging off the press so it doesn't sublimate to my bag. It shouldn't, but sometimes you get that carrying over a bit. And we're going to do the 20 seconds here. Now, the leather patch comes with its own special pad to lay over it to press. In the absence of that pad, I'm just using a regular cover sheet. I'm not too concerned because it's a canvas bag. It's a very forgiving surface. I should be able to get plenty of pressure for the application. But if you were doing a large run, say on headwear, the pad helps because it kind of goes down in to the leather and make sure you have good contact without scorching your item. But canvas is so dependable and durable, you're not going to scorch it. And so here's the completed result. So very easy item to be able to customize. And I'm going to talk a little bit about opportunities right now. So I think now is a big opportunity for you to be calling out on local businesses and not only helping them, but also establishing some goodwill. So it's not always going to be, it can help run your business and make some profit, but being able to launch apparel sales online for them. Go to them and say, hey, we can take your logos. Here are the looks we can create. Let us launch a t-shirt in a bag into an online sale where a percentage of every shirt sale comes back to help your business. People want to support your business in the community. It's been forced closed right now in almost all states. And so now is a great time to be able to call and advocate for some of that. So I'm in another screen printers group, and we've been talking a little bit from the heat press side, but if you look up a campaign that's been out there from many screen printers that are jumping onto it called Here for Good, it's a concept around that helps local businesses, and they have a whole process around it. You can use our online tool called Spirit Sale to be able to launch online stores or your own web tool, whatever you want to use. But the important thing is just get out there, get in front of businesses and show them the looks that you can create through texting them photos or whatever that might be. James said, thought you needed the power platen for the leather. So you don't in this case. So let me go over to the Stahls website, and I'm going to show you where to get to these products. So I'm on Stahls.com. If I go to custom logos, I can go to heat applied logos if that's what I'm looking for. We also have ready to sew and non-apparel stuff, but let's go to heat applied. And then I can go down to the leather patches. And you'll see the different colors available. There is natural, there is caramel, and there is also taupe. I believe I used the caramel just now, was the color that I had. And I have an example here, just real quick while we're there. I have an example of the natural color in person as well, so you get an idea. It's just the patch with the adhesive on the back. And then if you go down to the user guide, it'll have the application. So we do have the application for the heated lower cap press. We have the application for the power platen, which would be the heated lower platen, and the upper. So let me point out the difference to you, James. So the upper, as you can see, requires 360 degrees for 20 seconds. Some garments are not going to be able to handle that, certainly polyester garments without scorching. And so that's why if your garment can't withstand that, then go ahead and invest in the heated lower platens. It's going to give you more flexibility with these products where I can change the upper heat all the way down to 200 degrees and the bottom to 320. So it's still 20 seconds, but I have 160 degrees less from the top of that item. And that's really going to prevent scorching. So for those that may be wondering what the heated lower platens are, in our equipment section under heat presses and accessories, we have a product called the Power Platen. It's right here. If you just want to get into leather and flex style and these dimensional logos, I would highly, highly recommend, assuming you have a compatible press, that you at least get the, I think it's 6x6. Yeah, 6x6 Power Platen and the control board. That will give you at least that small print area to be able to do small logos, which is typically what you see in these dimensional products. So hopefully that helps you out with your question. There are ways with the top heat. Just make sure your garment can withstand it. Canvas is great for that, or 100% cotton. Typically no issues with scorching. All right, I'm going to look in to see if there's any other questions while I keep moving here. Next step's going to be showing you how to upload and order some of these logos. So Freddie asks, do you recommend that we always preheat the lower platen even with screen printed transfers? The answer is yes. I know a lot of people skip this step, and you're actually safer to skip it if you're pressing 100% poly. So if you're a really experienced decorator, you can probably, and you're on your 10th shirt in the job and you've preheated before you started, you can probably skip it. If you're doing 100% poly or very high content poly, it doesn't retain moisture a lot. But if you are doing cotton, or you want to be safe, then I always recommend you preheat. It certainly won't hurt. And all of our application settings are given with the understanding that you're preheating, so it's going to be warmed up from underneath. All right, so looking through some other questions here. Yeah, so most local business are closed due to the coronavirus. I find that most companies are not spending right now. I would say true. However, I've seen a lot of success with this fundraising concept. So actually there was an article featured yesterday in the Wall Street Journal about, I think the title was, Can T-shirts Save Local Restaurants? And it was talking about these restaurants, and a lot of small businesses in towns have a huge following that wants to support them, right? They're going to order takeout food, perhaps if that's allowed so many times a week in the areas that it's still allowed, or buy gift cards is one way. But a lot of brands, small businesses, are having merch stores stood up by apparel decorators like you, where $5 from every shirt, $10 from every shirt, whatever the amount you figure out goes back to the business. So it's really been an effective way. And I've seen where on that Here for Good campaign, where sometimes upwards of $10,000, $20,000 has been delivered back to local businesses in certain communities. So take a look at it. I think it's worth a look and can get you some business and helping other customers. All right. So glad you guys like the leather application. I want to show you now back on the screen For those of you that were with us at the beginning, we showed you how to upgrade a logo in CADWorks Live, which is a free design software, and create something like this, adding gradients as well as adding 3D effects. Now, for those of you that are already designers or have cool digital logos, this will work for you as well. But we're going to show you how to bring that design into stalls to order transfers. So right up in the top hand corner, right hand corner of stalls, there's a little thing called the artwork uploader. Once you have an account and you're logged in, and I'm logged in under my wife's account here, I can start to work with uploading files to get transfers and patches and all of these cool things made for me. And so it literally walks you through the steps from 1 to 8, and it's easy. So first is browse to attach, and it tells you all the acceptable file types. So if you remember, we did that logo earlier. Hold on, it was under my downloads. Here's the RJF sample. So I will select that, and that logo, it starts with the logo, would upload, and we're analyzing it and creating a thumbnail. And so when we analyze it, our analyzer says, is that a vector logo, which we did create, or is that a raster logo, which would be like a JPEG or a PNG, something like that. If you upload a vector logo and it's truly vector, you'll save money and won't have raster setup fees. So that's why we're going to try to design it in CADWorks or Corel. Once your logo is uploaded, then you're going to see all of our service types that are available to you. And so, you know, here's leather patches. Wouldn't look particularly good for this logo since it's a digital logo. We also have the 3D patches, but our digital technologies are either FlexStyle or CAD prints. Okay, and within CAD prints are all those different material choices like twill. And so I'm going to show you, you know what, I'm going to do it both ways. Let's start with CAD prints. I'll select CAD prints, and after that, and by the way, there's little helpers here. So if you want to highlight over this information dot anywhere in the process, it will explain stuff to you to help you understand our language, which sometimes you don't understand when you're first learning. But then we select the product, okay? So in this case, I can order this design. Yes, I can order it in a wall graphic and a helmet sticker and a static cling and a banner. So we can create that for you. And that's another thing that's selling right now to businesses are decals and graphics, especially to grocery stores. Stand here with the social distancing and 6 feet apart. So there's options there, but we're going to focus on the transfers. I'm going to click digital transfers logos. It asks you what you're applying to. So if you're going to apply to several things, basically what's going to be your primary thing. And so let's say we're going to press this to cotton poly blend. What is my garment color? It's a dark color or light color. That's really just telling us whether it's going to allow you to choose sublimated transfers or not. Is it a split front? Most of the time the answer is going to be no, unless you're doing split front baseball jerseys or zip up jackets where you're going across that split front zipper or button area. And then you're going to choose the material. And again, we have all the info on the material. You can hit the search box to get more details there. Or you can look at a lot of our training videos where we go through the different choices. In this case, the Permatwill was the product we just used. So I can select that Permatwill, if that's the sublimated twill, and then it will ask you, do you want an outline color? So this is like into the fine details, but typically when we're creating a CAD prints design, depending on the level of detail, we are actually cutting it and masking it and weeding it. It may need an outline. So you can say yes, or you can say, I really don't want it. I want the logo as is. So only add it if it's required. And so then our artists may make a slight modification and they'll send you a proof to avoid the outline. But just in case it's needed, we'll say select from our color palette the outline color, or enter your own Pantone color. And the idea there is if I know this logo is going on all black t-shirts, or let's just say, what would be good, blue t-shirts, I would go into the Stalls digital color palette and I would select the shade of blue that I think most closely matches my t-shirt, so the outline won't be as noticeable when it's on the item. Now, this is only with CAD prints. The stretch litho over at Stalls doesn't have outlines at all, and we will certainly try to avoid the outline unless it can't be avoided due to the level of detail that's in your logo. After that, because we picked the twill product, we can actually still sew this if we heat apply it, but let's say we're just heat applying it, we don't need a sew file, and it's not going to a hat, we're going to bags and shirts. At that point, it will bring up an image of your design, and I just need to say, hey, I want this to be, let's make it 4.5 inches wide. It'll size the height proportionally, and then I can name it. In this case, I'm going to name it RJF Masonry. And then at that point, I can type in any instructions to the artist if you need any changes or have any questions, and it will instantly give you a quote. It will tell me if I order 25 pieces, it's going to be $280 each. 1 to 24 pieces is $308 each. So then I can say, hey, I was thinking about 50 pieces for this job. Maybe the order's for 40, and I'm going to have some left over, and it will tell me my price for the whole job. At that point, we take your info from your account, and then you need to click, sometimes people miss this, right at the bottom, submit artwork. And when you click submit artwork, it's going to take you into your artwork dashboard. And basically it's going to say, hey, that's been submitted to our artist and it's in the in progress stage. And so our artists will look at that and they will message you back through email as well as through your portal here. And it will say needs attention. And that means there's a proof there and you need to approve it. And once you approve that proof, it's ready to order. So it's really a nice process to be able to order transfers. So here, I think some of you that follow all of my videos saw me do this actual job. This was for teacher gifts. I think it was around Christmas for teachers at my daughter's school. And I did a flex style design, but I want to show you how cool these proofs are when you get them back, especially for flex style. We will actually show you the texture in the design. You can download that, email it to your client and say, does this look good? And then order it. And once your logos come in, they come in just as we saw them a moment ago. They come in ready to heat apply like this. And so again, flex style can be digital as well. You're seeing the gradients and the texture in this flex style dimensional logo. So they come in, all you need to do is peel and press. So if you have the right tools for the job, if you understand how to order and you can create good artwork, you can really do some cool things with your customers' logos. Couple questions came on that I want to answer before I go back and show you the flex style choices just real quickly. One question is it possible to order a roll of custom print sublimated twill? So right now we do the white polyester twill that you could sublimate yourself. You can order that in either poly twill, which means with the temporary adhesive, in pressure sensitive twill, which means the pressure sensitive sticky back adhesive, or permatwill, which is a permanent adhesive, means if you laser cut it, you don't have to sew it like you do the other two that I just mentioned. So we don't sublimate the roll for you, but we can provide the white twill as well as the sublimation print so you can combine them yourself or print your own sublimation pattern. But sublimation twill is a tricky product because you need to be able to register where that logo is on the twill after it's been sublimated. So typically a pretty high-end optic eye cutter is needed because it has to be able to adjust for how the twill shrinks after you sublimate it for the skewing that you get. So there's a lot to sublimated twill, more than I'll be able to show in my house during these sessions, but that gives you a little bit of an idea. All right, so let's see here. I'm looking through questions here, so just give me 1 second. Looks like we're sharing a lot. I'm getting some questions about availability of products internationally. So we'll be able to connect you to our Stahls International team to talk about availability. You can also order or visit our friends at targettransfers.com if you're over in Europe. I know they're watching today. They have a lot of these products available over there. Some of the dimensional ones are more USA based, but certainly products like CAD prints. All right. So good to see you, Kirk, from South America. All right. And then last question I'm going to take before I move back into the design. Rosemary asks, would you recommend flex style on ball caps? I have the Hotronix cap press, no heated lower platen. So Rosemary, the answer is it depends on your hat. If you were doing a cotton canvas twill hat, and it's not black or navy or really dark color, odds are you'll be able to use flex style and follow the top heat only application and still have good result. I would definitely recommend preheating your lower platen a lot before you get started so you get some heat coming from underneath. I wouldn't recommend doing like an acrylic hat or a 100% performance polyester hat with top heat only. But there is some stuff that you can do as we work to get these pre-orders out on our 360 IQ hat press, which heats from the top and the bottom. So that should be within the next, well, we're providing email updates to everybody that's pre-ordered one, but that will be the best ever once we have that back out and rocking and rolling. Okay, good. So I'm going to jump back over to the stall screen. And I told you I would just show you the flex style choices. So there's a couple ways you can get to this. Again, we can go to custom logos. We can go to heat applied. And then you can just click on flex style by stalls. And on the actual flex style by stalls product page, there's a custom emblems with flex style video. I'd highly recommend watching that. You can also order a flex style starter kit, which is a great way to get samples of all of the products. And so there are a lot of different flex style choices. Once you go into the artwork uploader, and it'll just take a second, and again, upload a piece of art. I'm going to pick a different design this time. So I had these digital logos down here that I created the other day that I used for our stretch litho training. I can take the Jefferson Morgan rockets. Let's say I want this in flex style now. Same process. I'm just uploading this. This will show you a raster file because I haven't made this one vector yet. Select flex style. And then here you will be able to read about each particular product and then select the version that you want. So we have everything from beveled, heat applied, beveled pressure sensitive, domed heat applied, domed pressure sensitive, which would be like for cups or laptops or cell phone cases. We have flat and we have textured. Okay, so I'll give you a quick view of what those mean. Coming closer to me here. So this would be our textured. You're seeing that there is like a textured element to it. That was also the Mount Moriah Christian School proof I showed you on screen. This would be our beveled. So you can see more sharper edges to it. And so that's the beveled effect. And then this would be our flat. And this is an application I did the other day on a cup. And this is flat, so you can see it keeps the logo flat. This is offered in heat transfer and pressure sensitive. And I'm checking my sample book here to see if I have the domed, because I'd like to show you all of them. No, I don't have the domed handy. So if one of our folks helping online can find a link to where people can see the dome and all the finishes, that would be helpful. Right now, I'm not able to locate it. So again, once you do that, you would just follow that process all the way through. So hopefully this has given you a little bit of an idea on how not only to upload logos as far as design services from CADWorks, but also how to connect with really cool products for creating those logos. Now, if that's not your thing, don't worry, I have a couple more projects for you here before we conclude. It's kind of like a cutoff of that point, and we are going to switch gears for a second. And I want to talk about another product, and that's called GoofProof. So screen printed transfers have been a big category for us. As you saw earlier, we have the ability to gang up designs on our 11 1/4 by 14-inch sheet. And once those designs come to you, you can just trim them apart, or if it's identical designs, you can pay a cut apart fee from Stahls Transfer Express for us to do it for you. So one thing I wanted to do is take this design. This was in the sample box that our marketing team at Transfer Express sent to me. It's called the Great Big Egg Hunt. So one concept I was bouncing around yesterday with my family is the idea of ordering eggs, wall graphics, or window decals from Stahls, and being able to hide those in different houses around the neighborhood or different places in the community, and then be able to execute some sort of concept where kids and families could go out and try to find those, almost like a scavenger hunt sort of thing. And so I thought this design was pretty cool as a way to kick off that idea, and also just to show you a technology and a technique over at the heat press. So I'm going to go back to the heat press here. show you this as well as one more concept on a t-shirt. Let me get you a close-up view one more time, or at least an elevated view. And this is an item that I really like from Sanmar, from Transfer Express. It's the Port In Company, and it's like a hoodie fabric. It's a fleece fabric, but it's a drawstring bag. So really easy to decorate. Really nice product for just a low-cost giveaway promotional item. Now, in this particular case, I am going to have to switch out to my 11 by 15 attachment. So I'm going to take that attachment off and load my 11 by 15, and then be able to check my pressure because I don't have that pad in there anymore. Goof Proof does require 360 degrees, so my temperature is good, and it requires a medium to firm pressure. So in order to print this bag, I'm going to, again, split it and load it on. You could always lay a pad into it, whatever you wanted to do. And I'm going to try to take the pocket and hang it off of the edge and only leverage this top print area. So once my item's loaded on, I will complete a preheat and then position my design. Now, the reason I wanted to challenge myself is because this design really squeezes the edge of the transfer paper and what I'm going to be able to fit on the 11 by 15 platen. So the lesson that I've been telling folks for a long time is make sure you consider your design size and your item size and what platen you're going to need before you order the job. Run a practice, think through that before you order a bunch of transfers and then they don't fit on your item. Now, if you have one that's really squeezing the edge, what I'm going to do is just use my scissors, because the paper's tough to see through, to cut this as closely as I can on my design to the edge, so I can trust the edge of the paper as being the edge of my design, which will help me making sure I get pressure to all parts of it. So once I do that, I'm used to operating upside down, but with bags, I'm placing it right side up. And so I'm going to place it right side up. That's squeezing the edge. I mean, it is just right there across the board. I need to look to make sure I'm getting the placement I want. And then I'm going to heat apply it. Now, another lesson here is Goof Proof, if it has a common backing color, it takes the 360 degrees for 3 to 5 seconds. However, if it doesn't have a common backing color like this, you can see the backing are 2 different colors. It's blue and white. Then it's going to take 7 to 9 seconds for those 2 colors to release properly. So I'm going to make sure I adjust my temperature to the 9 seconds so I get maximum durability. And once that's done, I'm going to heat apply it. Goof Proof is one of those quick and easy applications. So even if it's 3 seconds to 9 seconds, it's fast, it's quick, it's screen printed transfer. So all the layers are together. And after it's been applied, I'm just going to peel the backing. And I just want to show you the accuracy of the Hotronix press. So bear with me for a second. You can see how close that design is to the edge of that platen. And so a lot of heat presses that are out there will not print to the edge of the platen, whether that's the top platen or the lower platen. But with Stahls, you get a nice result with having that accuracy. And actually, I got a surprise here. And we learned about a new product. I don't think I followed the instructions right, but the white on this was actually a puff. And so you can kind of see it close, but it's really cool. It's been combined with our Goof Proof transfer ink, which is why it fooled me, which is the blue color, but the white is puffing up. And so I should have followed the instructions for puff on my transfer. Know that these were all sent to me assorted in a box. If you would have received these on your order, it would come with a sheet that says, here is the application instructions. But puff is available in white and black and is a really cool design element for adding some texture and dimension, and also goes with our theme of upgrading logos. So really nice, really easy with the Goof Proof transfers. Now, the other concept I wanted to put out there before we conclude today is, we're thinking about a lot of local businesses, but also think about things that are going on in your community as a sales idea for food drives and those sorts of things. And so I know churches in a lot of areas are stepping up and trying to organize resources and giving in different things in the community to help where there is a need. So consider, how can you extend your apparel decoration services out to churches who are already seeking out these opportunities, and perhaps run a similar fundraising concept to deliver money back to whatever cause that may be, whether that's doctors and nurses and hospitals or food drives, or there's a lot of different causes that could use our help and our attention right now. And so this particular design shows you how you can gang sheet. This is for a church. It says helping end hugger. So that's one concept that came in the box. And then I have another one that came in the box. It's white ink. It says Love, Peace, Communion, St. Gabriel Church food drive. And so just being able to have people purchase a shirt, T-shirts unite people for $20, and being able to kick back $10 or whatever it might be from that shirt to whatever cause that is. I'm going to load my 16 by 20 platen back on to get to this print area. Again, working with the pressure. Preheating that bottom base while I'm getting my t-shirt ready. You get a pink t-shirt again because it's what I have in stock. Need to go down to the office here and reload this weekend, but I'm going to split it and thread it on. And then drag it off. So a lot of people say, what's the value of the caddy? It is splitting the item. But another thing that sometimes people miss, it's placing the design from this side of the press, which keeps you out from under the heat. If I were to load my shirt just on a normal press, like this, I'm all the way underneath the heat to get the collar off the edge. And I'm also placing my transfer under this tight area of the clamshell. And that's why a lot of people burn their knuckles when they're heat printing. People always ask me, do you burn your knuckles a lot? And the answer is no, not really, not hardly at all. The only time I burn my knuckles is when I'm leaning on the press talking to somebody and actually touch one of the top screws, which get very, very hot, which isn't my knuckles, I guess, but burn my hands. But anyways, we're going to preheat this. And this shows you the concept of being able just to place a single transfer very quickly, very easy, and apply it. So I'm going to go back. Since this is only a single color, I'll be able to run the 3 to 5 second application for goof proof and apply. So it's almost opening before you can even lock down and do anything else. So very quick, very easy. You'll hot peel the goof proof, and a lot easier than cutting and weeding something like this. Feel soft. It's an actual plastisol ink on the garment. And as I've been mentioning, when you're dealing with pinks and reds that are cotton, don't worry if it scorches. It looks like it scorched a little bit. That color will go away once moisture returns back to the garment. So don't worry about that. So going to take a look at any additional questions as we wrap up today. Yeah, nice surprise on the puff. I was for sure surprised. Yeah, no pinching on the back of the press. Freddie says he has that issue with his import press. Yeah, this is over center pressure adjustment. And so anytime you see that pressure adjustment in the back of the press on a clamshell style machine, that's a no-no. Typically you get pinching on the back of the press, which causes pressure issues. I have a video out there that compares the Stahls machines to a lot of the more inexpensive machines on the garment, and that's a big thing. And there's a lot of others where you get good quality. All right. Can't even imagine life. Yeah, I like that. So I assume that means on the threadable press, can't even imagine life without it anymore. Yeah, makes a big difference, whether it's a Hotronix Fusion, Swing Away, or whatever it may be. Ask for a number on the bag. So it's a Port & Company bag. It's just their fleece bag. One size fits all, 50-50. And it doesn't give me a style number on the inside of it. But if somebody is watching and knows this item from sanmar.com, please call out the number in the comment stream to help me out here. All right. Love my Hotronix AutoClam. That's great to hear. Really enjoying all these live trainings. Glad to help you out, Patrice. Thanks for watching all of them. And is anything shipping from Hotronix at this time? So we are still shipping heat presses. We are shipping them out of our Arizona facility, where we do have stock, and we hope to have some good news from Hotronix real soon. We've been working with the state government and the local authorities to try to be able to get back in business and shipping product to you. So we have high confidence that we'll be there really, really soon. So stay tuned for that. But we do have the presses. We do have the presses out in Arizona, and I was laughing at Bo's comment here. Need to have a drawing for a free Air Fusion. Yeah, let's just go to the top and see what we can do. I will say Transfer Express is doing a giveaway for a 16 by 20 autoclam as well. So make sure you check that out. It's on their Instagram page. If you look up Transfer Express, enter that, write a story, and I think we're doing the giveaway on that here within the next couple weeks. So again, this is our Making It Together live educational events. We are going to do the giveaway here this afternoon. So we're going to share the link to the survey to make sure you complete that and you're entered into the giveaway. You only need to do it once, and we'll announce those winners on our Heat Press for Profit Facebook group. And we will also reach out to the winners by email to let you know that you won. So thanks again for watching. We will see you all. I'll see you Tuesday. Jenna will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m.